Test, test, test. Hello, hello, hello.
Yep, you're good.
Test.
Can you hear me?
No.
Down below.
A little bit now. Yep. I can.
Got me?
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Here we go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. I was out of the studio last week. I had a little mastermind out of town, back in here. All kind of stuff happening. We got lots going on in real estate right now. Huge news this week, both locally and nationally in terms of real estate. We have the brand new market numbers in from last month. They're interesting overall. We saw two declines in single family resale. We saw price decline for both median and average, which is one of the first times we've seen that in a while. So we'll talk about what that means. Thankfully, they weren't too significant, but year versus year down about 4%. So that's something we've kind of felt, and I just haven't really seen the data in hindsight, in the rearview mirror to back that up. But we'll dig into those numbers, what that means. Some areas doing good, some not. We'll talk about kind of what to look at overall. Great news with interest rates this past week. They're down a little bit, hit a 1 week low into the week and close to 3-year low. We had the Federal Reserve meeting past week where they did reduce 25 basis points, which we already kind of knew. So it was already baked into a lot of that. But the good news is it did not spike back afterwards. And so we'll keep watching that. Hopefully we'll see it in the low sixes. It's around the 6.2s right now, which is really good. Super low 6.2. So awesome stuff there. We'll dig into those market numbers for sure. Our investment fund just bought another 2 properties in the last week and a half. Interesting ones. One was a nice house on the water in Georgetown. The person just wanted an instant cash offer, fair price versus listing it. And it was very close to list price, but very nice house down there. Just an inspection on that one yesterday. Also bought another property with acreage in Conway with a house and a lot of acreage on it in Conway this past week. Instant cash offer through our investment fund. So lots of great stuff with that. If you're thinking about selling on a cash offer on your service-based business, we're looking to acquire service-based businesses too through that fund. Things like air conditioning, pest control. If you have anybody thinking about selling, have them reach out to me. And we're big time ramping up for 2026, looking to add a couple great people to our team. We have really increased spending in terms of marketing like crazy in the past couple months, where a lot of agents have pulled off. We haven't backed off a bit. We have massive amounts of leads and opportunities come in from buyers across the globe, and we need great people to help take care of them. We have our own real estate school. We can take you through real estate school, have you get licensed at a discount. We also offer a scholarship. Our people who are qualified for that scholarship, meaning that they want to work hard, be a part of the team. And if you're just in a business that you're not really happy with, or a current situation not happy with, you want to be able to serve people at the highest level, be part of one of the top teams in the country, and have some amazing training, definitely reach out to me. You can also go to blakesloan.com. You can also go to sloanscholarship.com. That's there. We have some amazing success stories we'll talk about. We'll also talk about some interesting data that just came out this past week that talks about expired listings. They call them delistings now. It's like the politically correct way of saying expired listings jumped 37.9% this year as buyers and sellers split on market reality. And what that means is more properties are expiring more than ever. We've seen a similar type of numbers here already, but you're seeing that nationally where some of those markets were super hot. So we'll dig into what that data looks like, but it just talks about delistings, aka expireds, jumped 37.9% year over year and 45.5% year to date. So it's the highest it's ever been since Realtor.com started tracking it 2022. We'll talk about what that means as a home seller, what that means for you going into 2026, and how you can navigate that to make sure that doesn't happen to you. And we'll dig into that today's show, so make sure to stay tuned.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Absolutely, Rick. And that's just a promise I made a while back, and I'm going to stand on the rooftops and shout it until I don't have that problem anymore. I even had it again this morning. So it happens every single day, and so it's just crazy to think about. It's the number one problem in real estate, number one problem with realtors. It's the number one problem that consumers face when they deal with realtors. And I can see why a little bit, but the problem is they make the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. They look at agents as a commodity. How I know that? Well, they tell us that, and then they also pick them by the wrong way. And perfect example, I'll tell a horror story in a second. But the reality is they make the mistake of thinking that all agents are the same, which could not be further from the truth. You just break down the psychology of it. It's a service-based business, meaning the quality of the service and the level of execution that you have is going to come down to the ability in which the human you hire executes. That's it, right? And so if I know I have all these variables, when you're selling a property, it's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point. That could be anything from do they answer the telephone when a buyer calls, pricing strategy, negotiation strategy. Do they throw you under the bus in 2 seconds because they can't pay their bills, which happens every day, right? What's the speed in which they respond to web leads online? How do they negotiate for you? How do they handle home inspections? All these details matter, that the ball can get dropped and either make or break your home sale or cost you your hard-earned equity based on how well that human executes. And so the reality is when you talk about 118 different variables when you're selling a property, each one's handled correctly, it saves you money. Like I mentioned, anything's handled incorrectly, it costs you. It's simply impossible for one single person to handle all those variables at a high level proactively to get you the most amount of money. So what happens is they get the lowest hanging fruit, the squeakiest wheel, and a lot of that tends to fall through the cracks, which costs you money, or the property doesn't sell. And so that's what we run into all the time in our business. And so it's one of the things that I want to preach about, because that's the main problem in the industry. Just like any doctor and lawyer, right? If I'm charged with a crime I didn't commit, the last thing I want is the cheapest attorney. The last thing I want is my friend who's an attorney who only tried a few cases. I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who can give me the competitive advantage I need in the courtroom. And you demand, and you should demand, that same level of excellence for your largest asset. And this happens every day. And this is something that we had somebody this week. And it's just so hard to overcome that challenge sometimes of the commodity. In the horror story, we met with a person who was a former business owner here in the area. I knew the name. Actually, one of my business partners met with him, and he had it listed with a friend for over 6 months. Property did not sell. They only had a couple of showings. Guess what? By the way, he's in foreclosure. He hasn't made a payment on his house since after January. So he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. Initially wanted a cash offer. The problem was there's not enough really margin. He owes a significant amount because he's taking a home equity line on. And so there wasn't really enough for us to be able to buy it and make any money on it like it did all. And so it was, hey, look, the best thing to do would probably list it, because you get an owner occupant who can buy it and pay a premium, right? Owner occupant's going to pay more than an investor because they don't have to make money on it. They can live in it. And so, hey, here's what we do. Here's our system. Here's what we're great at. Absolutely blown away. Here's how we spend $100,000 a month marketing. And you say, oh, yeah, you started to go for it. And then he hesitated. And he said, I want to think about it. So Monday, we said, no problem. Called on Monday. He said, you know what? I think I'm going to go back with my friend again. And we're like, you mean the same friend that you just had it listed with that it didn't sell in 6 months? Yeah, that friend. And also the friend that he was complaining about because the property was listed wrong with the wrong amount of bedrooms, and it did not have the garage and the amount of cars correctly in terms of how big that has. A nice house, luxury house with multiple garages. And so he wanted to go with that person because guess what? They were the cheapest option. And so you're talking about a person who's in foreclosure, who is a potential previous business owner, who is under the gun, who needs to sell, who already listed with this person one time because they were a discount broker, who was their friend, went back to them because that was the reason they made a decision, which is crazy, right? And so this is coming down to why I share this in the show, because you're talking about your largest asset. This dude's most likely going to go to foreclosure. Why? Because the same person's already tried it one time and couldn't get it done. He doesn't have massive amount of equity to drop the price to be super cheap. And so what's going to happen, he's going to lose what little equity he has, and he's going to probably go to foreclosure. And so this is why it's so important to understand the nuances of how you pick the right agent. So when I got in the business, I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way, right? For example, there's one person can't juggle all those balls we talked about. It's like having the same person at McDonald's in the front register, drafting their fries at the same time. It's very, very inefficient. It does not work, which is why 50% of properties don't sell in our MLS. The same reason you saw expired listings jump 37.9% as buyers and sellers are split, because the reality is one person can't execute the highest level on all those. And so what I did, I've gotten the business like, man, there's got to be a better way. And thankfully, I've hired a lot of great coaches from outside our industry and other industries, and they basically taught me what business was like in traditional brick and mortar business. One of my coaches was awesome. He was in Austin, Texas, very, very successful business guy. He had grocery stores, took them from 40 to 4,000 and sold it. And I learned so much about how business operated outside of real estate. And so I took the brick and mortar model, brought that into here, where everything's based on system and processes. Everything happens the same way every single time. And we were able to build a team of specialists who specialize in what they do. And he always taught me, he said, look, a generalist is never going to execute at the highest level. You have to have a specialist who can specialize, because they need to execute at the highest level to create leverage where it gives you competitive advantage. So that's exactly what we do. We broke down the 118 different variables. to every single piece and created a system that's proven repeatable that creates maximum leverage at every single point. And what happens is you stack those dominoes. That creates a small gap point 1, a small gap point 2, a small gap point 3. You add all those up over 100 plus variables. At the end, it creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. And that's how we're able to sell properties faster and for more money. And so the thing I designed called the guaranteed sold system, the only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. We back it up with two main things: a large team of people, roughly 30 agents that we have. We have listing specialists who specialize in listings only. We have buyer specialists who specialize in buyers. We have inside sales team and outside sales team, full-time listing coordinator, closing coordinator, graphic design, photographer, videographer, all the house. Why? Because I want to control those variables. I want to make sure that we can execute the highest level, and I put pressure on them to make sure that they're pushing hard to execute the highest level. And so that guaranteed sold system is powerful. It's exclusive to us. Anybody we sit down with, it absolutely blows our mind. I sat with an agent this morning from a different brokerage who was potentially looking to come over, showed it to them. They'd never seen anything like it. They were absolutely blown away. And so how's it compared to what you've ever done before? Never seen anything like it. And so the consumers, when they see it, can see the value in it. And so if you're thinking about selling, do me a favor, reach out, call me, 843-808. So you can also watch a detailed breakdown I created for you guys out there. It's on our website, blakesloan.com. We give you a glimpse of what the process looks like. We expose the real estate industry for what it is behind the scenes and help answer a lot of questions. You can watch that documentary at blakesloan.com overall. And guess what? For buyers out there, it's the same exact thing. There's 100 plus variables out there when you buy a property. If each one's handled correctly, it saves you money. Get the property you want. Anything's handled incorrectly, you don't get the property you want, or you overpay for it. And so I designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get you priority access to foreclosure, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best purchase price in terms of negotiation, as well as home inspection negotiation to get you that close table successfully. But more importantly, we want to be a real estate resource for life. We have the absolute best vendors in terms of landscapers, plumbers, electricians, movers, whatever you need. We always make sure we have you covered with the white glove service. And so if you want to know more how it works, reach out, call me. 843-808-SOLD. The last thing you want to do is just go with some average agent. If you do the math, the average agent in our marketplace that sells less than 4 homes per year, that's 1 per quarter. There's not a lot of money to eat with, much less spending marketing on your behalf to actually move the needle. But more importantly, what I find is most agents throw their client under the bus in 2 seconds because they're just trying to pay the bills next month. And so don't get stuck with that. Don't gamble with your largest asset. Reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or blakesloan.com. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second.
Sean Hannity here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, thanks for joining me today. You know, a lot of people may be thinking about selling their home, but they want to make sure they're getting the most money possible. What options do you have available to make selling a home easier?
Hey, Sean, we have 3 unique, innovative options for home sellers right now. First, we have a program for maximum convenience, where I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars looking to buy homes at a fair price in the Myrtle Beach, Grandstand area. Or we have a program for maximum speed, where I can match your property up with over 100,000 plus active home buyers looking to buy properties here on the Grand Strand. Or 3, maximum value. We have a proven system. They'll sell your home twice as fast and for 5 to 15% more money than traditional methods.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers at time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for a home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. All kind of stuff going on in the marketplace right now. I'll tell you, I was surprised to see the numbers a little bit. Not really surprised. It really kind of, it was interesting to see. Been waiting to kind of see a decline. And didn't want that, but you could just feel it, right? You could just feel some of the prices. So we'll talk about that. Again, price is always a lag indicator of sales, and we just saw it soften for a few months. And so we'll talk about and that's year versus year. And so we'll talk about 2 types of numbers really quick, which we always do. We have their windshield numbers, which is, hey, what's happening in front of us? And those are pretty good, actually. That's like, hey, what's happening real time in terms of new properties going under contract. that looks at what went under contract the previous 7 days. Been doing that since COVID-19, and it's been very powerful because it allows me to have a real-time pulse on the market, and I can advise our clients based on how aggressive you want to be, in reality, compared to what's happening real time. So, for example, I look at the close data, which is what we call a rear view mirror, which is what the mass of the industry uses. The good thing about that is it shows you exactly what closed. The problem with that is it's old data, because if it closed last month, it went under contract 36 days prior. So you could make decisions based on data that's 90 days old, which doesn't give the true picture. And so that's what we always want to look at both. And so if you look at the front windshield numbers, hey, what properties went under contract the last 7 days? You got to think we're in the holiday season here in the month of December, right close to Christmas. And so actually really good compared to where it's been historically. Right now in the last 7 days, 409 properties under contract for $155,109,000, which is pretty good. Huge high-end properties still selling like crazy. One property, $3.7 million under contract in Pawleys Island. One property at $2.5 million under contract in North Myrtle Beach. One property, $2.1 million in Myrtle's Inlet last 7 days, and one property at $2.09 million in Deberdu. Obviously down there. And so lots of big stuff. 10 properties are $1 million under contract last 7 days. 81 properties are $500,000 under contract in the last 7 days alone. So lots of big stuff still selling. Last week's show, for example, was 477 for 184. So a little bit softening. And that typically happens right next to the Christmas break. The good thing, though, is there's a lot of serious buyers out there. If you're making moves right now, going under contract, week before Christmas, week and a half before Christmas, guess what? They're serious. And so there is a lot of serious buyers who need to have something identified by the end of the year in terms of like 1031 exchanges, lots of stuff that we've seen people try to do or get locked in before their new job starts in 2026. And so we've seen a lot of different situations here with that. If you want to know more about your property, where it is, what it lists for, the specific data, we have an amazing tool I spend thousands of dollars a month for. It's like your own personal stock ticker for your property anywhere in the country. It tells you real-time mortgage data, how much you owe, what all the comps are on your property, so what the real-time data is worth from every major data source on the planet. For example, Zillow only pulls from one. We have 4, and it shows you all 4, and it compares it versus like Zillow or everything else. It's a free tool. You have your own portal. It's amazing. And so you can get access to that at blakesloan.com. We offer it as a free community service. You can get instant online computer valuation. If you want a human valuation, you click a button, we do that for you too. You also get an online cash offer if you want to, and it's all on blakesloan.com. We don't hassle you. We can follow back up and reach out and say, hey, you need anything, but that's about it. Most of that via text message. So that's there for you. For the close numbers, very, very interesting to say the least. And so if you look at single family home sales last month overall, they were actually up 1.8%. That's the amount of units sold. Prices, though, the amount of closed homes went down. So, for example, in October, there's 543, November 404. The good news is if it compares to November last year was 397. So from 397 to 404, the most important number this month I'm looking at is pricing. Price is down 1.5% for average sale price for single family homes at $484,000. Median sale price also down 3.8% at $380,000. One of the few times recently we've seen both of those down at the same time. And so that's just something to worry about. So if you're thinking about last year, my house is worth, $400,000, you're talking $16,000 reduction in terms of equity does make a difference, right? It just shows the market has softened a little bit overall. Days on market for the amount of time it does take a property to sell is up 8.9% at 110 days. And so it takes on average the properties that do sell 110 days. You got to remember, though, if 100 properties listed, less than 50 of them actually sell. They either relist or delist, which means they expire. If you look at months of supply inventory, it's actually gone down from the last couple of months, which is crazy. Right now, it's only 4.8 months of inventory, which is typical kind of come around this time of year, holidays. Some people put on hold, they pull off a little bit. Right now, it's 4.8 months. Just in October, 5.0 months. And then month before that, 5.2 months in September. So it's actually gone down, which is great. The two most important seller focus numbers are showings per listing. So right now, the average listing in the MLS that's a single family home only gets 2.9 showings the entire time it's listed. So on average, listing agreement six months, you're getting one showing every other month, which is terrible. It's horrendous. Why is that? Well, how many showings does it take to actually get a contract? It takes 13.4. And so if you think about it, if you listen to the average agent, your friend who has their license, who does it full time, there's a chance you're going to average 3 showings total. The problem is you need 13.4 to get a contract. So that's the most important thing you need to know. And that's why you can't use just an average agent. You need someone who can put eyeballs in your property, who can differentiate it, who can make it look better, and who can make phone calls to buyers to push traffic and drive traffic to move that needle. And that's the most important thing you know. Looking at condos, condo market, right, which has been soft for a while. It's bounced back a little bit in terms of sales. The amount of sales, which is units, is up 8.8% from the same time last year at 322. Sales price down 2.1% from average sale price. So right now, 239,000 median price for condos. Average price is actually up 5.0% at 293,000. Significant jump there. For example, October it was 255, in November at 293. So a $50,000 jump almost for average sale price for condos just last month, which is awesome. Inventory is also down. It's at right now 8 months. Just look back, just August, it was 8.7, then 8.3 in September, 8.2 in October, 8.0 in November. So it's gone down really the last 5 months, which is awesome. Days on market right now for condos, it takes 137 days on average for a condo to sell if it does sell. We checked that month and a half ago, only 38% of condos were actually selling. So 100 listed, only 38 sell, which is scary. Why is that? Well, look at showings per pending. The average listing that's a condo in the entire MLS from every company gets 1.7 showings per listing, meaning the entire time is listed. So they're getting one really on every 3 months if you're lucky, which is crazy. How many showings it take to get a contract? 8.8. So you can see the difference here, right? Significant, almost 5 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to actually get a contract, which is why most condo listings are sitting there dead in the water just collecting dust. And so you want to make sure you can reach out to an agent like ourselves who can spend money, who's a 6-figure-a-month marketing budget, who can move that needle for you, because it is something you're seeing a lot of those just sit there while they're burning up money in HOA dues, burning up money in monthly payments. And so that's something to why the agent you choose is so important. One thing we're really watching like crazy, I think it's really going to be a big driver. My coach and I were talking about this just this week, interest rates. There's so many people right now on the sidelines looking to jump in. There's a study recently that showed like 80% of potential buyers are wanting to move in 2026 because they've been on the sidelines waiting for rates to get back affordable, and it's very close. They say they're very low 6s, high 5s. You're going to see millions more buyers jump in, hopefully in 2026. Right now, a 30-year fixed mortgage, 6.26%, which is awesome. A 15-year fixed mortgage, 5.76%, which is amazing. A 30-year jumbo loan, 6.4%. A 30-year FHA loan, 5.88%. And a 30-year VA loan, 5.9%. And so lots of opportunity in the 5s there. That means you're going to see a lot more buyers move. And that's why we're seeing a very busy December right before the holidays in terms of new buyers. And so if you're thinking about selling, it's an awesome time to get things rolling. I'll tell you, do not wait till the 1st of January to start if you're thinking about doing. Get the things in order, get some self pictures taken, get your process so you can beat people to the rush. Because here's the thing, buyers who are waiting through the holidays are going to jump back on the horse literally January 1st. And so if you can have yours ready to flip the switch, it gives you a competitive advantage, because you wait 2 or 3 weeks, your neighbor will be in the market. Now you got more competition. In addition to that, if you want to do a little bit earlier, we have what we call buyers in waiting. We sometimes can match it up to off market, which is very, very powerful. And any buyer looking right now is very serious. And so if you want to know more how it works, reach out, call me as the holidays happen. You're around the table, eating food, having open presents. If anybody mentions real estate, do me a huge favor. Say, you got to call my buddy Blake. Save me in your phone right now as Blake Sloan sold, whatever it is, 843-808 sold. The thing that would mean the most to me during the holiday season here, the biggest present I could ever receive from anybody out there listening, is a referral. So you got to call my buddy Blake. He's the #1 real estate team, Myrtle Beach, top 0.5% in North America, and we'll make sure we get the job for them done with excellence. So give me a call, 843-808 sold. Take a quick break. Right back in a second with success stories.
One spot or two?
One's fine.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan radio show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working the ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Sharon area, anywhere from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please call us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing every week for a while now, and I made a decision a long time ago, is put my money where my mouth is. The biggest difference between us and anyone else, you say, Blake, what's the difference between you and the other realtor I know who's my friend, is that we have what we call buyers in waiting. Before you ever call me, before a for sale sign ever goes in the ground, we have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of buyers. We spend $100,000 plus a month in marketing to generate buyers and sellers from all across the globe. And so we have what we call buyers in waiting, meaning people are looking for something just like yours. And obviously, I'm in business to make money, and I'm in here to sell the property for you. And so we're incentivized to sell both sides of it, right? And so most agents, all I do is they just the 3 Ps. They promise you a world to get listing. Number 2, they put it MLS, and 3, they pray someone brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're cool getting just half of it, but they're not even trying to sell. They're just hoping it sells based on price. With us, we hustle. Our team makes 10,000 phone calls a week to buyers out there, and they're hustling. We're matching up buyers and sellers. So right now, we have 81,572 active home buyers. Again, those aren't hits. Those are users with a username, password, who log in, who have an account. And so like right now, I got Shante from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got Carol and Mike Norker from North Carolina. It doesn't say exactly well. We're Dennis Latham from Taylorsville, Utah. There we go. That's a new one. I got a crazy name here I can't even pronounce. I got Lisa from Richmond, Indiana. I got Carlos from Springfield, Massachusetts. I got Cheryl Wilson from North Myrtle Beach. Shout out to Cheryl. I got Rebecca Fry from East Falmouth, Massachusetts. Here we check this out. Terry Devine from Moscow. That's pretty cool. I got one from Huntersville, North Carolina. This is real time searching my site this second. Barrington, Rhode Island is Edward McBride. Super cool there. And I got one more, Clarence from Myrtle's Inlet, South Carolina, all over the place. And so here we go. Sandy Nottingham from San Francisco, California is searching our site. She's been on here 4 days, and she already looked at 300 properties. Right now, she has 40 favorites, and her average sale price, $463,000. So the reality is we have what we call real-time buyers, and we have an algorithm that matches up buyers and sellers. And so we're here doing that every single day. So guess what? The first thing we do, we get a listing is, obviously, we try to find one of our buyers, make the phone call to them. We have an algorithm that will score them based on their previous search patterns with an actual number, like a 99% match, 98% match. We call them, match up buyer and seller, and that's how we're able to move the needle and sell properties faster and for more money. Why is that? We have 30 agents on the buy side who are making 10,000 phone calls a week to match up buyers and sellers. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Really quick, a success story. Chuck owned a townhouse in Longs, been using it as a rental property. Recently decided it's time to sell that. And he listed the realtor who was a, quote, friend. After 6 months, didn't receive a single offer. He was very frustrated, looking for different options. He started to reach out to investors, quickly realized they were only offering pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, heard about our guaranteed sold system from the billboards, decided to give us a call. We met with Chuck, shared with him that we had hundreds of buyers looking for properties that are rental properties just like his. I designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had an as-is offer on his condo in just a couple of weeks, and I could move on and not worry about managing property from 700 miles away where he lives. And also, June recently made a decision to sell her house in Conway, move to Texas, be closer to family. She want to make sure it sold fairly quickly, but did not want to leave money on the table. She looked at investors also. They were only giving her basically lowball offers. Then she heard about our guaranteed cash offer from a radio listener. Awesome. Gave us a call, met with her, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz. We basically told her, hey, we'll guarantee it if it doesn't sell, but we'll list it at this price for our quick sale program. Boom, we sold it for more money. She got more money in her pocket, had it under contract a couple of weeks with our 7-day quick sale, and she absolutely loved it. So if you want to know how it works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or blakesloan.com. Also, if you ever want to come back and watch these shows really quick, got about 30 seconds left, a minute, 40 seconds. Go back. You can watch these on YouTube. We stream on YouTube, 843-808-SOLD. You can stream on YouTube. Follow me at Blake Sloan on Facebook. We stream it also on LinkedIn. But one thing I'm seeing, right, housing market delistings jumped 37.9% as buyers and sellers split market reality. You have to right now have someone who's going to market it for you. I think 2026 is going to be huge for buyers jump back in. Make sure you're positioned correctly. Do not make the mistake of just listing with an average agent when the market's so tough right now. You need dollars behind you. You need sales experience behind you. And you need a team who can make 10,000 phone calls per week on your behalf to try to match up buyers and sellers. So hope you guys have great couple weeks, great holiday. Do me a favor, send me a referral, 843-808-SOLD. We'll see you back here next week at the same exact time.